I think at the moment it will seem like it's pretty fast moving, but I think that it will be quite a lengthy, protracted inquiry.
Let's go to our top story then. The Times has been told that Lord Mandelson will face a full criminal investigation into allegations that he leaked market-sensitive information from Downing Street to the paedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein. Documents released by the US Department of Justice appear to show that Mandelson passed on details of internal discussions known only to a handful of people at the top of government on at least 4 occasions when he was business secretary in 2009. Shabnam Chaudhri is a former detective superintendent at the Metropolitan Police and joins us this evening. Shabnam, hello to you.
Good evening, Kate.
Should we just talk about some of what is being called into question here, that Peter Mandelson leaked information. It appears that as a Labour MP, he received $75,000 from Jeffrey Epstein in 2003-2004. 6 years later, it appears that Lord Mandelson leaked sensitive government information during the banking crunch in 2009 to Epstein, a convicted sex offender, while he was serving in the cabinet. And emails suggest that he advised the US bank JP Morgan to threaten the UK Chancellor over bankers' bonuses. Those are some of the highlights. We know that the European Commission's also looking into that suggestion that he may have tipped off Epstein, that a €500 billion bailout was almost complete in May 2010 at the height of the Eurozone crisis, and that happened the following day, that bailout. So, look, there's plenty for the Metropolitan Police to investigate. Of course, we don't know the outcome of any of this. We should be clear about it. What does the process look like, though, Shabnam?
Yeah, I think key to all of this is the fact that these are allegations only that the Metropolitan Police have now received. I think the main allegation was misconduct in public office, and they will sift through thousands of pieces of documentation. Already, I understand that Commander Ella Marriott has released a statement to the public to say that an allegation has been received, and that they are now subject to, this matter is subject to investigation. So they'll have a team of investigators from what would be the specialist inquiry team. Not sure if they still called that, but that's what they were certainly when I was within policing. You'll have a number of officers working to a very senior officer. You'll have the Crown Prosecution Service sitting very closely with them at the very early stages to see if they reach any kind of a threshold that may necessitate either an arrest or further investigation. But I think at the moment it will seem like it's pretty fast moving, but I think that it will be quite a lengthy, protracted inquiry.
Okay. How much do we know about the threshold for any charges to be brought? I gather that it's quite a high one. I don't know if you know any more about that, Shabnam.
Yeah, well, the threshold for charge will be where there is a strong likelihood of a conviction. That decision will come from the Crown Prosecution Service, but then you'll have the suspicion, which may either result in an individual being taken into custody either by arrest or via invitation to the police station to be interviewed. And then the likelihood is that they may be subject to being bailed for further inquiries to be taken. So kind of twofold, really. You may have some early arrests and then you may have some later charges which will come from the Crown Prosecution Service decision in terms of whether there's a strong likelihood of a conviction.
OK, so the police may call Peter Mandelson, Lord Mandelson, in for interview?
May call him in for an interview. They may ask him to come in to be interviewed under caution, or it may be that they may arrest him. But again, it's very, very early stages. The Met Police have said, quite rightly so, that now that this is subject to investigation, they won't make any further comment. So it may seem like everything's gone very quiet, and then in the next couple of weeks, there may be some, activity as such in terms of somebody being invited for an interview or being subject to an arrest. Look, these are thousands and thousands of documents that have come to the notice of the public, and how the Met have received that information is through the media. So they will have their own team of investigators who will do their own assessing, reviewing of information and gathering of further evidence.
Has any politician or former politician ever received a conviction of misconduct in a public office before? I don't know whether they have they?
Do you know what? I was thinking that earlier on, and I probably should have Googled it, but off the top of my head, I would say, Kate, not that I can recall any politician being subjected or convicted of misconduct in public office. You get many other criminal type of convictions, through politicians, member of parliaments and so on, but not one that I can recall. And I think that's probably one that's worth looking into to see what the situation was, what the actual conviction was for, and how long it actually took to investigate it. But I think that what we need to be clear on is these are allegations only at this stage, and it cannot be trial by media or by the public. Every individual has a right to have a fair hearing and a fair investigation. And the Metropolitan Police will be exactly that, impartial in their investigations, and they'll be focused solely on the investigation, working to a very senior officer and working closely with the Crown Prosecution Service.
Yeah, it carries a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. I was just looking at some comments here by Joshua Rosenberg, the lawyer, who has said that securing a conviction for misconduct in public office is far from straightforward. MPs are in the process of replacing this common law crime with a new statutory offence as recommended by the Law Commission in 2020. And the threshold is high. It's all to do with benefit, a financial gain or loss, protection or enhancement of or damage to a person's reputation, a benefit or detriment of a physical or sexual nature. It's quite complex, but just reading through the details, this will be a challenge in any case for the police to have a look at. We've mentioned that high bar threshold already. Do you think that the Department of Justice, who released these Epstein files, or the FBI, US authorities, will be consulted at all, do you think? Because they are the source of the documents, aren't they, Shabnam?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point the Met Police deploy officers to America to have a look at some of this documentation. There's a huge amount of emails and all other sorts of evidence. It's not something you're just going to pass digitally through emails and so on. So I think it will take some officers who at some point may travel abroad in order to be able to review and assess any further information. And they'll be working closely with the relevant authority. These are very, very serious allegations. I'd love to say I'm an expert in this kind of investigation. I'm not, as a complex and major crime investigator. But what I would say is that you'll have an elite team of officers who are expert in this type of investigation, who work with expert Crown Prosecution Service teams who are also expert in this. And therefore, I think you'll find that this is going to be quite a lengthy and protracted investigation.
Well, look, Shabnam, thanks so much for speaking to us. Shabnam Chaudhri, former Detective Superintendent at the Metropolitan Police.